In this video, I'm going to tell you how I photographed the grizzly bears in Khutzeymateen Provincial Park. The Khutzeymateen Provincial Park, also known as the Khutzeymateen Grizzly Bear Sanctuary, was established as a park in 1994 and was the first area to provide protection specifically for grizzly bears and their habitat in Canada. The name Khutzeymateen comes from the First Nations word Khutzeymateen, which means valley at the head of the inlet. The area is jointly managed by BC Parks, the Khutzeymateen First Nations and the Grizzly tribe. There are approximately 50 to 70 grizzly bears that live in the area. The park is about 44,000 hectares and it really is a sanctuary for the bears as they have ample food and they can't be hunted. The other thing that's great for the bears is that the number of people that come into the park each year is quite low, as there are only 2 companies that operate tours in the area and both of them have very small groups that they guide around. For my trip, I chose to stay at the Khutzeymateen Wilderness Lodge, also known as the Khutz Lodge. It's owned by Jamie Hahn, who used to be a ranger with BC Parks. I spent a week at the lodge. Jamie was only there for part of that time. Most of the time that I spent out on the water searching for bears was in the company of Megan Baker, who honestly was one of the best guides that I've ever worked with. All of the staff at the lodge were just fantastic. The lodge was just a beautiful place to stay, and I really wish I could have stayed even longer. All of the searching for bears takes place in a boat. You drive around the inlet in the hope of finding bears near the water's edge. When I was there in the spring, there were many bears that had come down from the mountains to feed on the sedge near the water. Sedge is a grass-like plant, but it's not actually a grass. Here we see Elfie eating sedge. Elfie is a female bear and she's about 4 years old. Most of the bears in the area that are seen frequently are given names by the guides at the lodge, just so it's easy to identify them and have conversations about them. The other thing we see here is Elfie clamming on the beach. This means that she was digging up clams with her paw, and then when she would find one, she would break the shell in her mouth and eat the tasty insides. One of the things that's great about shooting from the water is that you can capture reflections in the water. When I saw that Elfie was going to take a sip of fresh water off the top of the surface of the inlet, I got ready and captured this shot with just a little drop hanging from her lips. Now here's Elfie's brother Samuel. This is Samuel eating sedge, and Samuel clamming on the beach, and then Samuel taking a rest after all that hard work. And here are some of my favourite shots from this trip. Samuel was in this beautiful lush green area. He got out of the water, climbed onto a tree trunk, walked along the tree trunk, and then just before he disappeared, he turned around and gave me a look over his shoulder. What a superstar! Now here's a bigger, older bear who was chasing after Samuel. This bear's name is Doze. We were worried about Samuel, but he managed to get away okay. It was really great to capture some profile shots of a bear running. Now this bear was called Sitka. In fact, Megan gave him that name when I was there. Of course I got some shots of Sitka eating sedge, but what was really great was to get some shots with his reflection in the water. For those kinds of shots, and in fact for many of the shots that I would take of the bears, I would try to get down as low as I possibly could and get my lens as close to the water as possible. Now here's a bear that we think was one called Zeus. What was really cool about this guy was seeing him swimming. We followed him for quite some distance, probably only about 6 feet away as he swam along. Now while we were looking primarily for bears, we would sometimes see some other animals. For example, we saw a number of humpback whales, and we also saw a number of eagles. Of course, it's always great to get some nice portraits of birds like eagles in trees and other places, but what's really great is when you can capture them in flight. You can capture a number of different wing positions and see all of that wonderful detail on their wings. Even when we weren't seeing bears or other animals, the scenery was always spectacular. It wasn't hard. You've got mountains, trees, beautiful water, throw in some waterfalls, and then the thing that I loved the most was the fog, the beautiful morning fog that would settle over the water. Just such a beautiful, spectacular place to spend some time. Now here's a big male bear called Hank the Tank. For quite some time he had been wooing this female, Hot Chocolate. Yes, those are really their names. Hot Chocolate had been resisting Hank's overtures for quite some time, but she finally said yes. And I also saw this young couple mating along the beach. This was Belle, and we're not sure who the male was. It was quite funny to see that after they mated, they were both just hanging out, clamming together along the beach. So romantic. I'm glad to say that I did see mothers and cubs. Not really young cubs, but it was still great to see mothers and older cubs. What you're seeing here is a mother and a cub, Skinny Minnie and her cub Joey. We actually named Joey when I was there, and they were up the side of a mountain, seeking refuge probably from a male bear. So I did see these two later on. Here they are on a very rainy morning. They love to stand up, these two. Skinny Minnie loves to stand, and I'm sure that's where her cub Joey has gotten it from. They weren't eating sedge. What they're actually eating is something called cow parsnip. It's a sort of a leafy green. And here's Skinny Minnie again, standing up on a sunnier day. And finally, here's another mother and a cub. This is a yearling cub, so it was just a little more than a year old. These two had such beautiful colouring. They were almost a cinnamon colour. This was the first time that these bears had been seen by the guides at the Khutz Lodge, so it was really cool to be part of that discovery. Now, even though these bears are about the same colour, when the cub is in the shadows playing on this tree trunk, notice just how different the colouring appears to be. It was just awesome hanging out with these two, and here are two of my favourite shots. Mama bear watching her cub, just making sure her cub is doing things right. I really enjoyed photographing the bears in the Khutzeymateen, and I really hope to get back there someday to do it again. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comments, please post below. And of course, please subscribe. I've got lots of stuff coming up. And in fact, I'm wrapping up this video as I'm sitting in a hotel room in Anchorage, Alaska. I just landed here tonight, and I'm going to be here for almost a month photographing bears here, and I'll have lots of great stuff to post when I get back. See you in the next video. Bye.